is that in order for you to have a business, somebody won't have to do it. Called SALES. What does that stand? Sales. Woo! Now, please. You know, do y'all know that people are not just going to buy your stuff because you say they're done. You listen, especially if you're selling high ticket products and services. I'm talking about today, a high ticket product could be $100. Because we are in a space where people are information out. So people tired of paying for a whole lot of coaching and information, to be honest. There's ways you can tweak it though and still be in the coaching industry. People have invested in everything under the sun. And so even something that's a $97 investment, while some of us might say, oh, it's not big investment. No, for some people, no. I need to talk to somebody, I need to hear somebody, I need to be good. And so we are out here running these businesses, and I see some of us. We'll do all the social media stuff, do all the go on the network stuff. We got all the articles and stuff, but the one thing that we're not doing is we're not selling. And selling requires you to literally say, how much it costs. But he does it in a better way. The reason why I think a lot of times, especially if you're a creative, you don't want to sell is because you don't want to feel sales. You want to feel like the car salesperson, right? And I'm the same way. I'm not a hard closer. I'm not an aggressive seller. And I'm not going to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. Like, literally, by the time you get to him, he's going to have you in a space where you're going to say, you know what? Just give me the car. And so he teaches you how to sell without being salesy. He's also an author. He is a speaker. He is a world changer. Y'all, let's give it up for Bruce Hill.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for your presence and participation on this Sunday, on this beautiful day. Listen, y'all, any day it's not snowing is a beautiful day for me, okay? I ask myself for every talk, what can I tell you today that you can use today that'll make you some money today and change the world forever? So each and every time I talk, I want to make sure it's not something that just inspires you, that just motivates you, but something that teaches you and that you can apply. So I have a very, very simple goal, and I'm gonna need your help to reach it. If I can help you hear yes more often without sounding salesy, would that be a good use of our next 15, 20 minutes? Somebody say yes. If I can help you hear yes more often while being your authentic self, just a version of you that makes more money, would that be good use of our time? Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. So I wrote a book. Shout out to Taria. Thanks, Taria. It's called 8 Steps to Sales Success. But you want to know what the alternate title of this book was? It was Sales Made Simple. And if I do a reprint, I might still call it that. I'm going to set this right here. We'll add this to the giveaways. Can I make sales really easy for you? Somebody say yes.
Yes.
Find people that want to tell you yes. I think this is the number one thing people get wrong with sales is they look for people that are ready to say no. And what people struggle with is sales. It puts us in front of the 3 things we are programmed, we are hardwired to avoid. The first is rejection. The second is uncertainty. And the third is judgment. What's that little song? These are a few of my favorite things. Like, people hate rejection, they hate being judged, and they hate uncertainty. And guess what sales puts us in front of every day? I don't know how they're going to respond. I don't know if my friends or family are going to think about me differently. I don't know if they're going to say yes. So the simple solution is, how do we find people that already want to tell us yes? Somebody say yes. So I have a very good friend of mine. I've known him for about 30 years now. And the poor guy has been bald since high school. Okay? Just look like one of the Jeffersons, right? Just bald. If I tried to sell my best friend some shampoo, he probably would be a little annoyed at me. He might not have some nice things to tell me, even though it's really great shampoo. It might be all natural. It might be organic. Maybe it gives you a little tingling sensation when you apply it. But guess what he doesn't have? So how much convincing would it take for him to buy this shampoo? Let me tell you right now, we're not in the convincing business. We're not in the convincing business. So here's what I want to do. There's so many things I want to share with you. How can we turn more conversations into clients? How can we move them from interested to invoice? How do we turn problems into payments? And so what I did is part of, because I just love how Taria operates. She gives and gives and gives and then gives some more. And if you want to work with her, she'll make space for you. But she's never going to twist your arm to do it. So I try to follow from her example. So for the book, which I have physical copies with me, I want to sign each and every one of you of your books that you bought today. I've put digital courses that I don't have time to cover today as a freebie, as a bonus for you for investing in yourself. So if you want to learn how to turn more conversations into clients, you can grab the book. You're going to learn the 8 steps to sales success, and you have those bonuses. If you want to hear yes more often, that bonus is in there as well. If you say, hey, I need to stay organized, I'm going to teach you how to use something called a CRM. I just don't have time to do that all in 20 minutes. So I encourage you to invest in yourselves, and I'll give you the link, no worries. But right now, okay, what was the question I asked at the very beginning? What can I teach you today that's going to help you today? All right. So there's 5 ways to hear yes more often. They're so simple. For my note takers, you may want to write this down. Number 1 is to ask more people. No one can buy from you if they've never heard of you. That's number 1. More people need a chance to tell you yes. Okay. The second thing, and this is all very simple, you know all of these. That's the fun part about what I do. I want to make it so clear and so easy that you're like, well, I might as well go do it. And that's where you start to get results. That's why I'm so proud of the people I have the honor and privilege of teaching, because they get results, because they do what I teach. The information isn't useful until you use it. When does it become useful? Okay. So what's number 1? How do we hear yes more often? What's number 1? Okay, that's pretty simple. So far, so good. Number 2 is to ask the right people. This goes back to my bald friends and it's shampoo. It could be wonderful shampoo. It don't matter. You don't have any hair. Okay. Some of you are trying to sell shampoo to people that don't have hair. You're wondering why this business isn't working. We got to find the right people. Okay. Then number 3, this is also very simple. I'm confident. You see why I'm thinking about changing the title of the book, Salesman? Does any of this seem complicated? It really isn't. And if it does, you let me know. We will break it down. Number 3 is ask more often. Now, this doesn't mean pestering people 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in one day. Please don't do that. You will get blocked. Then don't go around telling people Bruce said. I did not. What I mean is a monthly newsletter. What I mean is a reminder. Sometimes people just are waiting for that paycheck to hit. Sometimes no, it's really just not yet. That's assuming we have the right person. Okay, let's make sure we're all on track. What's the first one? What's the 5 ways to hear yes more often? Number 1? Okay, good. And number 2? Beautiful. Number 3? Excellent. We're on track. So number 4 is also very simple, is we're going to ask better questions. And my next book actually is titled Better Questions, Better Clients, because I realized if I could teach you to ask better questions, that will positively impact every single area of your life and business. And by impact, I mean money. So if we're asking better questions, the first thing we need to ask is ourselves, who can I serve with excellence? The answer to that question is the right people. If you ask yourself, who can I serve with excellence? The answer to that question is the right people. Those are the people that are waiting to tell you yes. Asking better questions will get you better clients. And number 5 is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is because the least people do this and it gets the most results. Ask for the referral. Number 5 is ask for the referral. Now, I gave them to you in an order, but I don't believe any one is more important than the other. I encourage you to do all of them. But if you don't do any of them, do this one. Referrals are the least expensive lead source, and they convert the highest of any lead source. So all of you today should go email your list, put a post on social media. If you're feeling real bold, pick up the phone and say, thank you so much for working with me. Thank you so much for buying my book. Thank you so much for attending my talk. I helped this people accomplish this result. Would you send it to them, to someone you know who wants that? Would you send this to someone you know wants this result? Here's how they get in touch with me. Here's the funny thing about this. Maybe 2 of you are going to do that. But what I love about this is that 2 is going to message me, and they do. I've got, where's my phone? I've got testimonials for days. They're like, Bruce, I got 2 new clients. I'm like, it's Tuesday. I just talked to you on Saturday. I love it. I love what I do because it impacts what you do and helps you make sales simple. Okay. Again, if we don't do anything else, what's the one step that I encourage each and every one of you to do today? What does that sound like? So I'll tell my buddy and say, hey, got the shampoo. Would you like some? He says, no, thank you. What should we do next? That is so simple, but I promise you that's not what people do. They try and tell you, hey, it's only 15 cents an ounce. They tell you it's a 16-ounce bottle. They tell you it's responsibly sourced. But he still doesn't have any hair. So what's a better question we could ask him? It's not a trick question. Anyone? Thanks, Modest. It's that simple. Who do you know that has hair and wants it to be? Then he's going to call me. He said, hey, Bruce, I got some shampoo for you. And guess what? I've known him for 30 years. You think I'm going to take his call? Think I'll check out the shampoo? Yes. There's someone that wants to tell you yes. Your job is to find them. Your job is not to convince them. You are not in the convincing business. That's how we make sales simple. How much time do I have left? Me neither. All right. So I'll tell you, when I started off in sales, I was pretty terrible. But I accidentally got good. I'm going to tell you how I accidentally got good. And I'm going to tell you how I did it wrong. And I'm going to tell you how I did it on purpose. I started off and I went to interview because I was out of a job. This is where all great stories start. The business was sold. Nobody had a job. I had to put that in there because people started asking me like, well, what happened? What'd you do? We all got fired or laid off, whatever word. We weren't getting a paycheck. So I called my buddy up, the same one with no hair, actually. And I said, hey, I want to do something different. I know if I do something different, I'll get different results. How do I get paid for more results, right? If I do more, I want to get paid more. He said, well, you got to go to sales. Now this was a life-changing moment. People can only give you advice based on their life experiences. Okay? They can only give you advice based on their life experiences. And even if you ask them a question they don't have the answer to, they can only tell you, well, I know this guy talks about it. They can only tell you about something they've experienced in their life. So if he had been a realtor, I might be a real estate broker. If he had sold insurance, I might be an insurance agent. Right? If he had sold drugs, I might be dead or in jail. Okay? So it's very simple. If you want their life, take their advice. If you don't want their life, do the opposite. Okay, that's a little extra bonus for y'all. Fortunately, he sold cars. So guess what he told me to do? Listen, I told you I'll make this all very simple. Okay? So I wanted to sell cars. I don't know anything about selling cars. So I go to interview, got my suit and tie on, I'm waiting. This is back when folks used to dress up for interviews. Right? And I walk in and there's no one there. And the 2 or 3 people that are running around busy, I was like, oh, they short-staffed. I'm in. All right, I'm ready. So I'm standing there waiting. The manager comes up. He said, hey, I'm helping the customer. I'll be right with you. He runs off. Standing there waiting. Someone comes in the door. He looks around. He sees me. He says, you. He said, I need to buy a car. I said, well, I don't work here. He was like, don't worry about that. I already know which car it is. I was like, okay. So mind you, I've never sold cars, ever. Not a single car. Not even my car. I crashed it, couldn't sell it, right? So I have no idea what I'm doing. So what I did, I asked him, well, what kind of car it is? He's like, I'll show you. So we go out in the lot, he shows me the car, and I look at it, and I look at him, and I look at the car. I don't know what to say. So I asked him a question. I said, well, why do you want this car? So he told me. I said, I said, those are some good reasons. I was like, well, what do you think of the price? He said, that's a good price. I said, I think so too. I looked at the car and looked at him, and he looked at me, and he looked at the car. I said, well, what should we do next? He said, well, I guess I should fill out some paperwork. I was like, that's a good idea. Let's go find some paperwork. So we went back inside, and the manager meets us. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I was just helping this gentleman buy a car. He said, what? He said, yeah, he wants to buy that car, and he likes the price. How do we help him? He said, all right. He takes him out, fills out the credit app, he gets approved, puts the down payment, he buys the car. How long do you think my interview was? I got the job. And I realized something years later, mind you. I didn't realize it that day. But I'm going to share it with you to save you all years. If you can listen, you can sell. All my best students have been introverts. And this is when I'm looking backwards, I put all the pieces together, right? Hindsight's 2020. Because they stopped talking long enough for the client, their future client, to talk themselves into buying. They shut up long enough to listen for the yes. That's what I talk about in my book, The Sales Success. We talk about asking better questions. We talk about listening to understand. We talk about how to turn conversations into clients, and it's easy. Does anybody think they could have done that? I'm confident you could have. You're smart enough to come here on a Sunday afternoon. I'm confident you could have accidentally asked a few good questions. I'm going to help you do it on purpose. And what I realized is you don't need to be the master of manipulation. You don't need to be the killer closer. You just have to ask questions so that you can hear yes more often. That's what I want for your life. That's what I want for your business. Yes, yes? Yes. Here's what I want to do. Can I get that QR code up? Here's what I want to do. I've got so much to give you all, and I just can't cover in 20 minutes or 20 hours. I don't think I've bragged about this, but I got to brag more. We all do. Go ahead and fill this out. I'm going to talk you through it. I've been messing up sales for about 15 years. I did it wrong so I could help you all get it right. So I left that job selling cars after I went 2 back-to-back President's Clubs. All right, that's a top sales performance award. I was on track for a 3rd. I was top 100 in the company nationwide out of 7,000 employees, and I quit. I believed that if I got in front of more people, I would give myself more opportunities to hear yes. So I went to an outside sales role. And I didn't know it, but this was my first taste of entrepreneurship. And in this role, there were no leads, there was no website, there was no phone, people to call you. Just like some of our businesses at the very beginning, no one was typing in the name of your business because they didn't know it. I had to go out and find people to sell to. And at the end in exchange for your honest feedback, I've got some resources that help me become successful. And I want to help you skip some of the bumps and bruises along the way. Because the first month I was there, I made $0. Okay? Everybody tells you about the $1 million they made last month, but they don't tell you about the months where they made $0. I want to let you know it took me a couple tries to get it right. And then I got it right on accident. And then I got it wrong again. And then I got it right on purpose. I want to help you all get it right on purpose. Because my second month, I made $7 in commissions. Listen, $7 ain't gonna buy you a cup of coffee these days. What is that? A gallon of gas? And I said, man. So I knocked on more doors. I sent more emails. I called more people. I did more. But guess what? Doing more of the wrong things still gets you the wrong results. And so that third month, does anyone guess how much I made that third month? I tried really, really, really hard. That's pretty good. Anybody else? 1,200. Man, I wish. I mean, $300. $300 in 3 months. How long will your lights stay on if you was making $300 every 90 days? That's when people start calling you and they ain't telling you happy birthday. And so I asked myself, and some of you are asking yourself this question. That's why my next book is called Better Questions. But don't skip steps though. 8 steps to sales success first, and then we'll talk about better questions second. I asked myself a question: what do I need to do differently to get different results? That sound familiar to anyone? So I got up on Wednesday morning. I remember the meeting was at 6 a.m. I brought some donuts with me, and I went to the install team. They were supposed to take what I sold and deliver it to the customer. And I thought to myself, I'm going to ask them what happened. I'm going to learn from them about the product or service. I'm going to increase my knowledge like you all are doing today, because I know if I get better, my business gets better. So I went into the install team and I said, hey guys, I'm Bruce. Don't mind me. I'm just here to listen. They said, Bruce. And they grabbed me and they sat me down in front of the room. They was like, don't go anywhere. We got to talk to you. I was like, oh, I'm getting fired. And they said, Bruce, you got to stop selling this stuff. Except they didn't say stuff. So it says on my business card, I'm a sales consultant. This is what I do. They said, no, Bruce, you got to stop selling this stuff. I learned in that moment, my training was so bad. Over the last 90 days, I've been selling things that were out of stock, that were obsolete, and discontinued. So even though, what's number one in hearing yes more often? Even though I was asking more and more people, I wasn't asking the right questions. That's why I said it's all of them. And so the install team would go to deliver what I sold. They'd look at it, say, I don't have none of this. And they'd delete it. And they'd give the customer a better option. That's why my commissions were $7. It wasn't that I wasn't working hard. I was working hard at the wrong things. Some of you are stuck in your current position in life and business is not because of how hard you're working. We've got to figure out what's the right thing I should be working on. So I asked them a better question. I said, well, what should I be selling? Tell me the 2 things that you sell the most of. I'm just going to sell that. This gave me a list. And I went out and I talked to more people and I made sure they're the right people. I looked for people that wanted to tell me yes. And guess what happened? I worked less and made more. That next month, I tripled how much I made in the first 90 days. And the next month, I doubled what I made that previous month. Somebody say double. And the next month, I doubled what I made in that month. Somebody say double. And the next month, I doubled it again. Somebody say double. Tell me why my income did not go backwards until I left to take a management position in a Platinum 400 company. And so when I wrote this book, I wrote it for me, selfishly. But you all get to enjoy it too. I don't want you to spend 90 days to make $300. I want you to double your income frequently. Somebody say double one more time. Frequently. That's important. You can double it in 10 years. Double it in a month. Okay, I'm listening. So my name is Bruce Hill. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. And I have the pleasure of being a coach to some amazing people. Hopefully someone in this room. I help you hear yes more often without sounding salesy. I help you to turn more conversations into clients. I want to thank you all for your presence and participation. I've got books. If you want to hear more of the story, more of the journey, and the things I just don't have time to share, I would love to send you home with a copy. And I want to thank Taria one more time for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for your presence and participation.
All right, y'all. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to get ready to do this panel. So we need you to write your questions. And then Brittany, favor, can you get everybody's name, their name cards from them? And